I'm just going to let our speakers speak for themselves. Please welcome Melinda, Miklós, CEO of We Are Open, to the stage.
Thank you. Hello. How are you? Great. Did you have enough sleep yesterday? Oh. Okay, so how many tricks have you developed to make sure that when you are on a vacation at a beautiful seaside and you go into the water, no one will steal your belongings? How many tricks do you have? Okay, I also had one. Last time I traveled alone, and I figured that the best is to not to bring anything to the beach except of a towel, water, and a book. And I was sitting there, enjoying myself and the sun, and someone approached me. And he asked me whether I can watch out for his and his friends' belonging while they are in the water. And I was like, okay. He also told me that you can go away if you have anything to do, so it's not a must, but if you could sit, that's great. And I sit there, and I decided to wait until they are back. And they were away for like 40 minutes. And he came back, I waited for them, kept an eye on their belongings, and since then I'm together with this man. And I keep learning about trust. Today I invite you to look at how is the status of trust in the world nowadays, and how you, as leaders at companies, can become a trusted partner of tens, hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people. We will look at trust, but I missed having the clicker. Yes, thank you, David. Okay, great. What does trust mean? I rely on you. I rely on your acts. I rely on your judgment. And you give me hope that if things go wrong, you offer me help and remedy. Trust is the glue that keep us together as partners, as family, as group of friends, as society, or as a community that happens to go together at a Nick Cave concert, and you can be sure that you will find your way through the crowd. And trust is also hope. You know that if you face your deepest fears, there will be someone out there to help you out. But who will have the strength to keep us safe from the consequences of the coming economic slowdown? Who will have the ability to save us from the climate catastrophe? Who will have the character to fight against the growing inequality between genders, races, generations, just to name a few? And who will help us to fight for the truth and to make sure that everyone is judged solely on the basis of their acts and achievements, and discrimination and prejudice will be eliminated from the workplaces? Today I would like to talk about how you can be the trusted partner of many people. What companies have done in the past, they looked inwards. They dealt with their own life, which was okay. But nowadays, there is a change. When people look around and they face their deepest fears, more and more they look at companies and company leaders to help them out. Out of 4 people, 3 would like the CEOs to take the lead on important social changes. They would like to have the CEOs, the business leaders, to go and get things done. They say, fight against gender pay gap. Teach us how to survive in the era of robotics. Save us from the climate catastrophe and make sure that we won't die. So if you are, for instance, the leader of the world's most impactful, most powerful investment company like BlackRock, you are in a pretty good position to nudge other very important business actors to what to pay attention to. So Larry Fink, last year in his open letter, called companies to look at their diversity and inclusion, what they have done so far. And they told that, guys, if you haven't done enough, we will consider this as a fact when we evaluate your company. So you better start paying attention to this. In this year's open letter that he published in January, he warned about sustainability the same manner. There are times when cooperation must be more important than competition. These months, the leaders of the world's most powerful brands are thinking together in the United States to come up with an idea about how the role of companies must be changed. And we witness this very process all the time, because not only the business leaders, but also advertisers realize that what people expect from them is to work with a purpose, to do things against gender pay gap, to make sure, again, that the environment will survive us as humanity, as humankind. Yeah, it's not easy. I would like to show you what happens if something goes really wrong, because as they say, it's better to learn from others' mistakes.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show. A superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China.
It was a tough one. So what does trust mean? It means the assured reliance on someone's strength, ability, character, or the truth. And how you can earn trust? I Googled it for you. I wrote you a few tips and tricks. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And if you would like to get home with like 12 tricks and tips, this is a slide for you. But I have a better offering. What if you could sit with your harshest competitor around the same table and could think together about how to fight against sexism in your industry? Or even more, what if it wouldn't be about the two of you, but there would be like 10 companies like you joining forces, or 100, or even thousands? What if the business community at large would look at cooperation instead of competition when it comes to living up to people's expectations, earning their trust, and working together for important social or environmental changes? With We Are Open, we do exactly this. We built a community of businesses and organizations who want to and can do things in order to improve diversity and inclusion at the workplaces. When we are doing so, we look at science and experience. We know it very well that building an open, inclusive environment is not only the right thing to do for organizations and businesses, but it also makes business sense. For instance, McKinsey found that a more gender diverse and ethnic-wise more diverse company outperformed their peers significantly. Or Catalyst, they are a pretty interesting company, and they looked at several hundred research papers and found 39 causes why diversity makes business sense. And they grouped them into 4 key factors. The first factor is that it increases financial performance. Second is if a company or organization is more diverse and inclusive, it helps hire and retain people. It also helps knowing better the market where you navigate and build your reputation. And last but not least, it helps creativity and innovation. So We Are Open started 7 years ago, and we felt the need of building something together. Instead of having companies acting on their own in order to have some or make some positive impact, we figured that maybe it makes more sense if we do it together. So we sit down, 3 companies, a multinational, a startup, and a Hungarian small business. Sort of sounds like a joke, but this is how it started. So we sat down together and wanted to figure out how the very act that we are doing right now, right here, talking to each other about how we can do something together, could be a source of inspiration to many, many more out there. Never in our wildest dream could we imagine that in only 2 weeks there will be more than 400 companies and organizations who sign up publicly with their logo to the same statement, saying that they regard it as their fundamental value, that they judge everyone solely on the basis of their acts and their achievements, regardless of any other characteristics. Today, we are more than 1,000 companies, and all of these companies and organizations believe that they can and have to do something in order to achieve a positive change in the society. 4 years ago, I left my job as the press officer for Google. And since then, we have been building from an idea that was We Are Open 7 years ago, a nonprofit social enterprise that can help companies and organizations join forces. So what we do, we come up with an idea, we have an open campaign model. We come up with an idea, campaign idea, and invite everyone to join and move together. So we could have campaigns where 100 of CEOs or 100 of brands move together, which was unprecedented in Hungary and beyond before that. And why it makes sense? So one of the consequences of these campaigns is that people expect even more. They want companies to be even more active when it comes to important social changes. But it also helped people experiencing life or experiencing transformative things in their lives. For instance, I've heard that a guy who had been working at a company for 12 years already, only after seeing his company participating in campaigns, felt the confidence and the trust to be able to come out from the closet to his colleagues, again, who he had known for like 12 years. Everyone was crying in the room, they said. Or I've heard stories about women who could collect enough courage to leave a workplace that was abusive, to leave a workplace where they were harassed, and go out and have trust in others about which they knew that these workplaces are open and they will be handled with care and dignity. We also ask people's experience and opinion. Together with Genius, which is a trusted research company in Hungary and beyond, we ran several national representative researches. What we found is that every second employee has already experienced some sort of discrimination at the workplace, which is a pretty bad number. But if you look deeper, so 40% of the people wouldn't want to have a female boss. The most rejected minority groups are Roma people and LGBTQ people. But there is also the ray of hope some positive numbers, some good numbers to look at. For instance, 60% of the people have experienced that in the past 2 years, their workplace wanted to do something in order to improve gender equality. And guess what? People want more. Or 63% of both women and men said that they believe that working for gender equality, it's something that they have to do together. It's not a women's issue, they say. Everyone will benefit from a more gender equal world. They say it's a common interest. So with We Are Open, we try to help them make this thinking into action. We also asked what is the youngest generation's opinion? So people who are already above 18 but still not at the labor market. If you ask them which workplace would they prefer, 83% of them say that if they had a chance to choose, they would go for the workplace about which they know that it is open. But in the labor market, when there are more than 60,000 unfilled jobs, they do have the chance to choose. Recently, I talked to the CEO of a multinational company, and he told me that when we would like to hire someone, we don't necessarily compete with companies in Hungary from the same industry. We compete with our own companies, different branches in different countries, like our Berlin office or London office. And if you would like to make sure that these people, these great people, stay here with us in Hungary, we really have to become a bubble or an island for them, where they can feel loved, or where they can feel that they belong there. So you can imagine what happens if more than 100 CEOs sign an open letter, a statement, if you like, right before Pride March in Hungary, and it is published in Forbes magazine. And this statement says that, yes, as a CEO, I believe that diversity and inclusion is a fundamental value. And because of this, I will be at Pride March with my colleagues and support the LGBTQ community. It is quite a powerful message. Or similarly, if you see more than 100 business leaders standing next to each other in a way that from each company you see a female and a male leader right next to each other, saying that yes, we stand together for gender equality because we believe that it's a common cause, a common interest to work for this. So we will do this and that in order to improve ourselves and our community. Again, this sends a powerful message, not only to those who are working in the company, but thousands or maybe to millions of people. So what I can tell you now, after 7 years, if we look around in our Central and Eastern European region, companies here are more advanced when it comes to diversity and inclusion. Business leaders are more open to the idea of cooperate instead of compete with each other when it comes to doing something for important social or economic causes. And together with them, with We Are Open, they work hard and we work hard to live up to people's expectations and keep earning their trust. To make sure that we can work together with as many of you as you want, I would like to invite you all to our community. And, as I told before, what is trust? It's the strength, ability, character, or truth of something or someone. It is hope. You can earn it if you say what you mean and mean what you say. And if you would like to do it together, we are here for you. Thank you.
Okay, once again, we have a lot of questions, so let's get going. Is having gender quota better or hiring the person who is the best fit for the job? It's a bit of an affirmative action question.
It's not an either or, I think. So I can share with you some how it looks like in the world, at least how our partners are usually handling such questions. So of course, as I showed you, creating as balanced, as diverse work environment as possible is good for business and it's good for the community as well. How to achieve that? This is the question that it goes back to. So as you may probably know, many companies have target numbers in everything what they do. But these target numbers are not like meant to be quotas that you fill without thinking and without paying attention to the very core of business, which is meritocracy. So what they do, when they have a hiring process, they set certain rules. I'm not talking about all of the companies, okay, but some of them, they do it like this. They have certain policies, which are usually, you have to have in the pipeline a diverse set of candidates who are equally fit. So the job is not to get someone there just to tick a box, but to go and continue the process, the hiring process, until you can produce the diverse enough candidate list. So I think I see where this question is coming from, but in reality it's more like this.
So it's really about the candidacy pool, and having a diverse candidacy pool and being sure that among there will be a person for the right fit.
Yeah, so build up a diverse candidate pool. This is the goal, and not just, tick box some things.
Of course, of course. You said diverse companies perform better. How can we prove that their performance advantage is due to its diversity and not something else?
So it's these researches are pretty complex researches. And there are certain, if you can go back, no, cannot. I cannot. Anyway, okay. So, for instance, when Catalyst, this organization that I showed you, looked at the research, and they identified where to go. They identified, okay, I think it's stopped. They identified 39 different. Okay, we were there. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys, but something is, yes, here. So these are like 39 different causes that are somehow associated with the benefit of diversity. It's a mix. Diversity and inclusion is one factor, but and it is investigated in many different ways. One of the core ideas, for instance, is that if you have a more diverse set of people in a group, you can avoid certain mistakes that otherwise would not be detected. And I can give you a very tiny example, but I think it's fun, so I will share with you. Once we had at our event, Laszlo Bock as a speaker. Laszlo Bock used to be the global HR SVP of Google for 16 years, so basically he built up the company until 2016. And he said that there was a very annoying bug in the early ages of YouTube, and they couldn't figure out what's the issue. So what happened back then, a certain percentage of the videos, like small percentage, maybe like 3-4%, I don't remember, were always upside down, and they couldn't figure out why. And they looked at the code and everything seemed to be okay. And of course, they had a lot of meetings. And one day, a new person came into a meeting, and what they did, they started to recreate some of the issues, so they tested things on their phone. And they recorded the video, looked at it, nothing happened. No issue. They couldn't recreate the bug. And the new person came into the meeting, and they grabbed the video, the phone, with his left hand, and recorded the video like that. And then they realized that, what was going on, that none of the team members were left-handed, and no one ever thought about the issue that what happens if someone, holds the phone sort of upside down when they record a video. And by this, I'm not saying, of course, that being left-handed is the most important diversity issue in the globe. I just wanted to illustrate how tiny nuances can make a big difference, and how important it is to bring as many aspects to the table as possible.
That's great. That's a very clear example. That's all the time we have for questions, actually. But thank you so much for coming. This is a little reminder from the conference.
Thank you very much.
And you can catch Melinda during the break to talk about the rest of your questions.
Thank you for being here. Have a good day.